Hello, welcome back to another episode on Red Foxy. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on new content.
I'm scared and guilty about marriage. This is a throwaway account. Also, English is my second language, so please excuse my errors in grammar. So to start, I, 26 meters, have been in 2 relationships in my lifetime. My first ex cheated on me physically and emotionally, and it lasted about 10 months. Second ex was the longest relationship I ever had, which was a span of 5 years. We started dating when we were college, and I really thought she was the one I was going to spend my life with, but when I found out that she was already cheating with her coworker, it broke me because I had already thought of proposing to her. When I confronted her, she made up excuses like any other person would say, like I didn't give enough attention, I neglected her, or I wasn't satisfying her. It hurt because she was talking behind my back with this guy, and it revealed a side which I never thought my ex was capable of. But all that was 6 months ago, so I'm slowly recovering. My problem is that lately I have been hanging around with my friend group, going to bars, clubbing, and just chilling. I have a friend named John, 28 meters, and he is a player, which in other words the people call him is a FCK boy. Every time when our group is hanging out, I see him walk off our leave with women and all that stuff. Now my problem isn't that he is leaving with a girl or women every time we're hanging out. My problem is that every woman he flirts with are either married, in a relationship, or have partners. I voiced my opinion to the group and asked what they thought about it. They just brushed it off, saying it's not their problem and that it's messed up, but they can't do anything. I asked John why he did it and that if he ever felt guilty that he is screwing around with married women and potentially ruining someone's marriage. And he's like, his words, hell no. Why TF should I care? They came to me. If they really loved their husbands or BF, they wouldn't have screwed around with me, plus somebody's gotta satisfy them. You can easily pick women up, just talk about their relationship and talk about their flaws and use that as leverage, and they will give in. I'm not sure what the feeling is, but every time I hear about someone cheating, guy/girl, I feel dread, or empathy. It's a feeling I can't describe, but I feel anger and sadness about cheating. I read about it on Reddit, and every time I read it I just feel sad for the person that got cheated on. Notable problems that I see are either they met someone else while in a relationship, failed to communicate. SX life is going horrible. Or they are either under the influence or irresponsible. No trust. And the list goes on. Now what my friend said got me curious, so I thought about experimenting. I'm considered a somewhat handsome, or a cute face like most girls say, and I lost a lot of weight after HS. I had a line men body, half fat and half muscle, but I lost all that fat since I was motivated to lose it. So I used that as advantage to flirt with women or girls that were in a relationship. 90% of the time it would work, and then 10% it wouldn't. The ones that did work talked about their problems in their relationship and all that stuff, and I just sat there listening, and when the time came, either her or I would offer to go to each other's apartments. If the women asked, I would respectfully decline and just make up some excuse, and if I asked, I would just come up with another dumb excuse. They would give me their number, but I wouldn't contact them. In the end, this got me thinking that this can happen to anybody, that no matter how good or bad it is, there will always be flaw, and that flaw will determine the guy/girl's action. This is where my mistake happens. I went to a fancy dinner party where all branches of my work met together and we ate and danced. I was just drinking until I met a woman named Scarlett, 37F, and I tell you, she was a really beautiful woman. She had beautiful hair, good body figure, nice smile, and a good sense of humor. And we just started talking, and then it went to flirting, then we just danced. I was getting stares from other men because apparently she was considered a top value worker in her branch, and I guess they wanted to dance with her, but she refused and stayed with me. Then next thing you know, we're making out in my car, then we go to my apartment, and then I guess what happens. That morning we just stayed there laying in bed talking about what happened. We considered it the best SX in our lives. Then she dropped a bombshell. She was married, but before I could say anything she started crying because she never thought she would do the same thing her husband did. Apparently her husband had cheated on her, and she showed me picture of him essing with other women. And it was her idea to see if they could fix their marriage, but that every time she tried to be intimate with him she felt sad, or she felt that it didn't feel the same anymore. I guess I'm just here because I feel guilty and scared about the idea of being betrayed again. Story 2. Girlfriend, 19F, cheated on me, 20M, while drunk and on drugs. 3 weeks ago on a random Thursday night, my girlfriend went on a night out with a few of her roommates. At that time she lived with like 16 others on one floor, 8 men, 8 women. She was already a bit drunk while texting me that night and wasn't texting me back a lot. After a while she texted me that she was going to take an ecstasy pill. She always told me how dangerous it was to combine them with alcohol, and this was going to be her first time. I told her to be careful, but that was the last thing I heard from her that night. The next morning I asked her what happened and was really worried, but the first thing I got from her was a video of her crying and telling me that a roommate of hers kissed her, but that she wasn't in control of herself so she couldn't resist it. She can't remember SHT from the rest of the night. She also didn't remember that she texted me she was going to take drugs and thought her roommates just gave her the drugs while she was already effed up and took advantage of her that way. She also got the person she cheated with wrong. Still don't believe her on that, because she knew I would break up immediately if it was with that roommate, but more about this later. She texted the person she thought kissed her, but he texted her back that it was another roommate. I haven't seen this text yet. She also told me that she remembers that she fell to her knees on the street because of the state she was in. Apparently she had blood on her pants at her knees the day after. She knew that she took drugs, because another roommate of hers told her that other roommates gave them to her, but she also texted me about it. I don't know any other details, because she tells me that she doesn't remember anything else. We were together in a very healthy and happy relationship for 9 months. We saw each other a lot and we already went on 2 vacations together. I met her on another vacation. I would describe it as perfect, while maybe still being in honeymoon phase. There are some red flags you suddenly see when something like this happens. She also has these 3 male friends of her, of which she kissed 2, but before I met her, and still sees them every once in a while. I don't really like it and she knows this, but she kind of ignored it and I don't want to be that guy who forbids her to see them, because I believe a healthy relationship is based on trust. She once went to a party with them and asked me if they could stay at hers and even asked me one of them could sleep in her bed with her, but she would create a barrier of pillows. Of course I told her no, and she slept in another room. A week before all of this she told me that there were rumors about her being flirty with another roommate, the one she first thought she kissed, but she told me that they weren't true. They are kind of close with each other. I believed her, but in the back of your mind you will always question if the rumors might, partly, be true. A good friend of mine moved in a floor beneath hers and there are some connections between both of the floors, so my crazy theory is that she might have been scared he would hear, not just about the flirting. She told me that she immediately wanted to tell me she kissed someone because she couldn't live with herself, but also because I would have heard anyways, which I find really weird. She already moved back in with her parents because of this story, but also because the floor has a bad influence on her. From her parents' place she has to travel like 2 hours every day to go to uni, so she already wanted to move into this other room, which also had like 4 men and 4 women. She sent them a message, without even texting me if I was okay with that first. My problem is that I kind of believe her. We've seen each other in person and talked about it. I could see the regret in her face and I believe her when she tells me she is sorry. The thing I'm scared about is that she might have confused not being in control with the fact that she doesn't remember clearly. I'm also scared I'm never going to trust her again. I only told one friend of mine about this, and he tells me to break up, while he really likes her. Her friends and her parents tell her she wasn't in control. I think they believe she was drugged even though they know the whole story. I just need some objective advice about this.